All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, how's everybody doing today? Joseph Sunderman here, Creative Tech. Not the Creative Tech, just a Creative Tech just like you. And if you're watching this, hopefully you have a purpose or something that you're going for. And what we want to talk about today is ways that we can help you get on your journey and find your purpose and what your why is, and how we got where we are. So yeah, excited to talk to everybody today. This is Sessions, a platform we use for iCore Group, my company that we service over 40 companies here in Cincinnati, providing them secure IT management. And the tech stack that we provide everybody is something that we've developed over a decade. But what we found out throughout the course of this is that clients need more than just their technology provided to them. They want to know how to use it, how to improve their workflows. And we want to help them, but what we realized, we weren't very organized. We didn't have a lot of structure, and we were like letting value slip through the cracks. So we took the time to develop what we call the Master Tech Plan, and part of that Master Tech Plan is Sessions. Sessions is our education platform, and we find one focus and up to 3 objectives that we're working on that we want to explain to the whole organization and get them trained on. So we do that in a quarterly fashion. I wanted to take that and work with individuals. So here we are. So today's focus is on entrepreneurship. Running last minute, getting all this put together. So bear with me. I'm going to grab me a drink of water and sit tight. Yeah, we're still early into the show. We got an hour to get into it. So I'm excited. I'm going to pull up the agenda. Lots to get into. Very excited. The 22nd episode. That's crazy. And let's go ahead and turn this music down. The hype is over. Woo! Now I'm a little bit all over the place. Sorry about that. So, entrepreneurship is today's focus. I never knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I never really wanted to. In fact, I kind of was. I just didn't realize it at the time. I wanted to be a rock star. And if you're a rock star, you're a business person. Your personal brand means everything. And nobody mentored me. So I thought all you had to do was be a good musician, make good music, and you're off to the races. You'll get signed and they'll take care of everything else. Here's for some musicians, they were in bands and all they had to do is show up and do their part. Based off of all the drama you hear in bands and shit, that's usually what happens. And yeah, I kind of got tired of it. I dropped out of high school because I was so determined. Yeah. So how am I here doing this, and how do I have a company and we're got a training program? Well, don't get too excited. It's in its early development stages. Out of all those clients, I mean, there used to be over when I first met my business partner, there was over 500 business clients that were reaching out on a regular basis for some form of something or another. But like I said, it was all break fix, and break fix has really started taking a decline. Even though we had a database of 500 people, they were calling less and less and less. And so when I first met business partners, like, oh, well, we can't rely on break fix, or we need to have some kind of contract. And we did. We got the Cincinnati Public School contract. Well, that's an incredible part of our story. And I love our story. I love telling our story. So what we did was we got that contract. But like I said, I never had any aspirations to be an entrepreneur. To me, I was helping out a friend that owned a business at the time. I was just a grunt learning how to do stuff and wanting to be something. So yeah, learning that owning a company and taking care of multiple businesses, I didn't want to work for 500 of them. The relationship wasn't, I like to be involved, I guess is what I'm saying. And I want to provide more services because I see that the clients needed more. Well, fast forward 10 years and yeah, things have really, by solving problems, putting systems in place to solve problems, when I see issues with security or people stepping over things. A lot of times people think that the software will give you the security. No, it's your practices, it's your workflows. And I try to find easier ways to explain this to people, and it's like that old saying with Napoleon, you know, if I wish I would have wrote this in, I wish I had more time to make this letter simpler, or whatever that, I don't know if it was Napoleon. I don't need to be quoting anybody. Bottom line is, yeah, it's hard to take complex systems and simplify them. Finding frameworks around something to frame something properly so somebody can understand it in a way that they understand. How do you get their perspective? A lot of times people won't talk to you. I always used to pull it out of people, but anyway, I've learned now with these systems that we've built just to be practical. Don't truly understand there is no competition. It's about collaboration. And when you truly stop competing against the world and start collaborating and just truly know your skill set and focus on your strengths, the power at that, oh my goodness. Yeah. All right, so we have our focus, entrepreneurship. For me, it's about autonomy, owning your own business, doing your own thing. And we all live our own journey. As a creative tech, that's what I'd have been happy sticking to the script and working for some big corporate 500, because that's where I was before I worked with Jay, and then ended up starting my own business and still branching out from there, still doing it. Yeah, I wanted to work for, my goal is to work for a big Fortune 500 company, make $100,000 a year and be able to hire my own band, do my own show. I was pissed, but yeah, you get older and you learn, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be such an asshole. People aren't going to work for me for free. How do I get people behind my mission and get them to want to do it just as much as I do? You know, learning how to shift things around that. To me, I think that's what an entrepreneur does. Not only do they build systems that solve problems, but they have to build systems that people will adopt. And to get them to adopt them, you kind of have to understand people. Anyway, so that's why we're talking about entrepreneurship today. I don't want to work for a big company. I like my autonomy. I like being able to help people with problems and focus on what I'm good at and not be tied down to any, one client. We got that contract for Cincinnati Public Schools, and when it went away, I was like, oh, we can't rely on one big contract anymore. I came back from the corporate world, and that's when things got exciting. We turned into a managed service provider, still in that transition. Very exciting. So we have 3 topics that we're going to talk about with entrepreneurship today. Fulfillment. I want to talk to you guys about how, if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, still being a creative tech, understanding your anchors and where you want to go. If you want to work for somebody, that's fine. You can still be an entrepreneur and work for somebody too. It's really a mindset. But anyway, the second topic we're going to talk about is development. To get that fulfillment, to get that, get all that out, good feel stuff out of it, you have to develop yourself. You have to develop not only your current, situation, but you have to know your desired state. You have to build these anchors. That's what we call them, as anchors, and know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going 10 years from now, the objectives and matters you do today could be taking away from that. If you were to think about it, most people don't even think about 10 years down the road. They're trying to deal with what's going on today. And if you get too caught up in that minutia, you'll never get to a desired state. You'll be caught up in that and you'll never progress. So, let me turn this music down just a little bit more. There we go. All right. So the third thing we're going to talk about today is transformation. And transformation is what it's all about. That's what you need to take away from this. It's all about transformation and transforming yourself from the current state to the desired state. And that's something that framework right there, you can break down to the most simplest form, the most granular piece of the, mowing your lawn, anywhere from that to closing the multi-million-dollar deal. So transforming, this person has a bid out there. You want to have that job. How do you get to that desired state? How do you transform where we currently are and get that desired state? For me, you know your anchors, so you know where you want to go. I want to win that contract. Okay, what are the objectives that we need to do to get that contract? We need to, bid on it. We need to, make sure we know the technology that's part of this. Start working on the labs in the background. We gotta, you got to know the desired state. So you start building out your objectives. Now, what happens if something comes up what happens if something blows up or this technology is way out of scope for us? What's our contingencies? What do we do there? So how are you going to deal with matters is what I'm saying. Those are the things that'll pop up on you. Those are things that will try to trip you up while you're trying to get to your desired state. And if you don't have a way to deal with potential things, you're in trouble. A lot of the stuff is pretty rational, logical stuff. We all know how to be healthy. We all know we need to exercise and eat right. It's really hard. It's really hard to do, isn't it? For some of us. I used to weigh over 300 pounds, well over 300 pounds. Now I'm down under 250, which I'm very grateful for. I'm not sure the damage I've done over the years. Like I said, not many mentors and not much direction, but today things do seem to be on the right trajectory. So how do we want to kick this off? I think I've talked enough about entrepreneurship. You guys know the 3 topics now. A little bit about why we're doing this whole thing with the creative tech and sessions. I like to take moments throughout the show to talk about what we're doing here and what this is even all about. And I know that in order for Ikora to be successful, my business, I know we need to be able to market things. I know we need to be able to go out there and do social media, content creation, things of this nature. So if that is the goal, I need to be good at marketing and sales and things of that nature. I need to be able to build a sales funnel. In fact, all my clients, I see them, they have their funnels, they have their things, but we all know there's room for improvements and there's just no room for development internally. So how can I build systems with their current tech stack they have to improve things so they can do social media, so they can do those sales and marketing development tools? And how do you get a CRM implemented with a company that's never had a CRM? I mean, they have to have some form of management, right? They have to have some kind of black book somewhere where they keep track of all their clients. Yeah, that's true. But to really have a system to track your opportunities and to keep in touch with potential partners and clients, things of that nature, keeping track of what's going on internally with your company, all these things are problems that I saw as I was trying to find my way as an IT professional so I can make enough money to start my own band and hire everybody. But what I really started to see is that, man, I'm really good at finding people see what they think is the problem. And when I observe things, I find a problem 10 steps behind that problem that's causing that problem. And usually if you're fixing the surface level issues, on enough basis, you start to learn where the root issues are. And I've done that enough now to see that you can't look at things surface level. It's very difficult to work with somebody that's at that surface level and I try to explain to them deeper levels. So fulfillment for me, the very first topic, we're going to jump into that. I don't know where I went into that tangent from talking about why we're doing this. So I guess that's what we're doing. We're talking about why we're doing this. Sorry, I get lost sometimes. I need to get a guest and keep my agenda up. That would be nice. But no, we're doing this because I got to get good at sales and development. And as I've solved problems throughout everything, that's kind of how I became an entrepreneur, is that I got good at solving people's problems. And my lord, I just realized that's really dark, isn't it? Woo. I need some help with my production value here and there. Oh, and we got camera 2. I was practicing this earlier today. I want to be able to, let you guys see my workspace a little bit and change angles. Try to make it a little exciting, improvements to the show. And plus, on top of that, I got some hotkeys to switch. Oh, yeah. This side I'm not sharing my screen, am I? No need to share my screen yet, but I wanted to have it queued up, and I didn't do that, so I guess I am slacking here. Let's go ahead and queue that up. If I had my stuff set up, my buttons would work. Okay, so if I... Bloop. All right, so now I can hit my button. Oh, don't tell me you're not going to work. See, I don't know what's going on here. Oh my God. It's in the order. Okay. Am I making you sick yet? Anyway. Yeah, we messed with this in the other camera view. Fun stuff. I just looked over at my monitor, saw it was super dark. Distractions. It's all good. And that's part of it, right? I got to get good at this stuff. Ikora needs to hit the ground running when it's ready. This is the 22nd week I've been doing this. I know it's all over the place. It is getting better, I hope. The delta between day 1 and today should be pretty good. And I did have people that wanted to help with this, and they still do help in their own ways. But it's hard to stick to something 1 hour a week and be consistent with it. How do you get disciplined to set your life up to be able to do something like this? That should be a testament to somebody's capabilities when they do start doing things of that nature. Are they reliable? Are they showing up? And that's like 90% of it, isn't it? Showing up to the game. We're all humans and we're very smart and we're all very capable. Some of us move faster than others. Some of us process things in a much clearer, focused way and take their time as they flow through it. Some of us are just like me, fast. They both have their pros and cons. We all add value. We all have something to provide. And I'm telling you, working for somebody else for me just didn't cut it. My wife has worked for Duke Energy for 17 years. And the cushy of that job is something I look at and I go, oh, I would love just to clock in at, 8 a.m. And by 5 o'clock, I'm headed home. And that's it. And I get all these weeks of vacation. I get these weeks of sick pay. I get all these holidays off. What? But the grass is always greener on the other side, is it not? Because she looks at me and says, not tie that office. Now, granted, she only has to go to the office twice a week now post-pandemic, which for me, I always thought people should be able to work from home if they could. And what she does, she doesn't need to be at that office. And with her team, they can come. There should have a hybrid model. What they do is very important. They do need to have people on site. They need to have people present. And they have enough people to rotate and enough people to be able to work from home certain days. So they have a good hybrid solution. And I love that. I love seeing their tech stack is not as efficient, but they put so much into their workforce and stuff. And their tech stack, I shouldn't say is not as efficient. It's not as modern because, enterprise, it takes time and money to keep up with technology. And I mean, it's crazy seeing cultures from a small business perspective and get bigger. So for me, entrepreneurship is awesome. We're doing this whole thing right here to get our capabilities of doing the show. So that way, when we do Icora's marketing and sales, we're great. So we're focused on the individual with the creative tech. This is a lab to learn how to do social media for Icora. That's essentially what it is. We will have guests on here soon. That will make it better. Right now, it's just to prove a point that having a focus with 3 topics once a week, and not only that, here, let's go ahead and let me do this because I have this pulled up. Where is my mouse? Get over here, mouse. All right. So what we have here is my tracker of the show. Let me exit this grid view. So here you can see all of the shows from, this was episode number 1 all the way up to, we're on number 22 today. And you can see, I need to edit this actually. We need to upload the thumbnail. And I need to get it out of this folder. It needs to be up here. Whatever. Anyway, that's the thumbnail. If you want to see the actual thumbnail, basically I could do this. I can come over here. This is basically an app I built to track my shows, right? It has the title or the focus for the session, which is Entrepreneurship is today. Last week we talked about expectations. You can see every episode here. And when I first started this show, there was no format. And here we go. So enough about the show and why we're doing this. By getting good at this and showing the delta from episode 1 until now, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. This show, I didn't have this episode ready until an hour before. Actually, I think it was 9 minutes before I said, okay, I'm going to go get ready for the show. When I ended the stream, I streamed beforehand on my personal stuff just to get hours in with Twitch and do stuff, and off to the side. But this is where I do the actual show, and this is on LinkedIn. Probably should be more professional, but I want to be authentic. I want to be me, and I want to show my skill set, and I want to show how I'm building systems. And this is something completely separate from my business. I'm just using this lab environment inside of my business to manage this show right here and to manage the efforts for us, because this isn't something that you can just do. There's resources using this. We need this to work out to some degree, right? There is a business model to this as well. I didn't want to have a lab for Icora that was just a lab. Too small for that. I can't afford just to have a lab. So the business model here is to get good at showing people that we have knowledge around these things. And I do need to get into the episode. We're 24 minutes into it. Lord have mercy. All right. So by showing the delta, getting better at this, I will get more confident and start making more polish. We have something called spotlights coming. We got the episode show right here. We can click here. There's a folder structure to this app, which is what I was going to show you, where we can go in, click right. Yep. Where's that going to open that up at? Is it opening up in? Oh, it's opening up in Teams. Well, here, let me bring my browser over just so that way you guys can see. This folder structure right here, basically this links to each one. And it's opening up Teams. I'm not bringing my Teams over right now. So here should be the thumbnail. Yep, that's the thumbnail for today. Entrepreneurship, fulfillment. I hope I spelled that right. Development. I hope I spelled that right. And transformation. I think I'm good. I hate spelling entrepreneurship. I still think I screw it up every time. Can I buy an E, please? Anyway. Boom. Every one of these shows, since episode 1, which just has the recording in this one, this folder structure for every episode, you can watch the episode. If I have a guest that has separate video feeds, because what I want to be able to do is make snippets off of these shows. And there's a treasure trove in here that talks about little pieces of what I've built, and AI is going to be able to strip down those pieces and cut things together and make me all kinds of shorts and things down the road as I get better at doing this and get that high velocity marketing funnel going and get more engagement that way. I'm not going to use AI I want to be authentic. I want to make valuable content and talk about this thing that I'm very passionate about and be able to make stuff off of it. So that's all part of this too. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get back to the show, because I've rambled probably 15 minutes about the creative tech and what it is we're doing. And if you really want to know what I think about entrepreneurship and why it's so much better to solve problems and find out ways where you can get the value, read your environment. Obviously, if you live in a town like I grew up in, and money is scarce, you're going to have to bill at those rates. You live in the city, are in places, and are able to have the skill set to do that, that's where you go. But the first topic today is fulfillment, and I can't tell you enough about how much I've worked for things I didn't want to do, how many jobs I've done. I did it because I had to, and I didn't have many options. I just wanted to make money. I needed to make money, and my options were limited due to, hey, I dropped out of high school. After I went back and got my GED and went to we'll just say it, I went to ITT Tech. It's nothing I'm not too proud of it. It's not something I like to brag about. Let's put it that way. But I did work my ass off there to redeem myself, and I showed up, and I got a 3.8 when I graduated and got my associate's degree. I never once had anybody check to see if my degree was valid. I never had any, out of all the jobs and things that I've done, nobody really cared. Nobody cares. And I think in today's world, if you can get efficient and get your own certifications and do things yourself, even certifications at this point, I have to get certified in certain things in order to have certain partnerships and to be able to do certain services and whatnot. But that doesn't mean I need to go have my CCNA and CCNMSP and all these weird acronyms. And I don't know if that last one was real or not, but bottom line, I was so stuck on getting my CCNA. But when I started working with small businesses, I realized that, hey, these guys are playing on makeshift fields themselves, and they're doing well. You're talking millions a year in business, and their tech stack is like a coffee table, and it needs to be like a master cabinetry. So by doing this and eventually getting to a point where I'm solving people's problems and they're paying me as an entrepreneur, the fulfillment I get when I come home, and I know that I have projects in my pipeline for months, years to come. And I look in my rearview mirror and I see all we've accomplished and everything that we've done. Wow, that fulfillment you get from doing this. And did I have that fulfillment when I was starting off? No. I did have days where there was breakthroughs, or I got that job, but then it's like, oh, I lost that job. Oh, I got that opportunity, but I didn't get this opportunity. It's a roller coaster ride, this life we live in. And I'll tell you what, I've done well but I really didn't start doing well until I focused on getting better myself and dealing with my own issues, right? And I have stoicism is something that I really found to be very helpful. During 2020, during the pandemic, I was making a push. I was yelling at technicians. It was overly exhausting. I knew I wanted this business to go well, and I just started my own business because I was tired of waiting around for everybody else. And then the pandemic hit, and the world went. I was like, ugh. I didn't know what to do, you know. But I did take a stop and look around. I started realizing, God, I do feel fulfillment. Well, we have come far. Why am I having so much friction getting things done? I'm pissing people off. I gotta stop. I gotta stop approaching. This isn't working. So that's where we get into our second topic. We're going to just go ahead and get into development. I had to develop myself to get to a point where I was at least tolerable for others to work with. And I still think I'm probably fairly rigid, and my standards are pretty. My standards I feel are very reasonable, and that's why now this confidence that you get when you get to a point where you can keep your cool and you've built your systems and everything around you to a point to where I do feel confident about XYZ. Like, all I'm saying is you get to a point where you take a look at what you've built and you say, let's shift things a certain way. Let's start setting some standards and let's make them practical. Quit trying to shove everything down everybody's throat at once. And let's take a big, deep breath and let's just get things done. The way we approach work is not working. So I had to develop myself is where I'm going with this. During the pandemic, I started taking communication classes. I basically just shut down, went on hiatus, and started reading a lot. And by reading, I mean Audible is your best friend. I don't read. Yeah, I don't have the mentality to sit there and just read a book. And I want to be present. I want to hear. So I do have to drive a lot. So that's where I get a lot of my reading in. I get my reading in by drive, everybody. There you go. You heard it here first. Anyway, some great knowledge out there I wish I would have had growing up. Some great people out there, some great mentors that give out all this information in a book that you can purchase for a few dollars. Anyway, I had to develop myself in order to get where I need to be. I also had to realize I need to know where I'm going. There's this book called How to Deal with No or Difficult People. I can't remember the name of the book. Again, I got to quit quoting things because I'm horrible with titles, names, things of that nature. But the context of the book about being on a balcony and having a set point off in the distance, being able to see your vision. And I don't know if they called it an anchor in this book, but I think they did, and that may be where I got it from. But regardless, all these things I come up with objectives and matters. And if I haven't talked about that, I'm going to talk about that here in this development piece. But understanding that you have a current state and there's a desired state that you want to get to. How do you get to that desired state? Well, you have to know that desired state. I mean, truly know that desired state. For me, my desired state, my anchors right now is that my business is growing and that when I retire, I'm able to hand that off somewhere. And when I retire, which even if I retire, that's me handing the CEO torch to somebody else. I'll still be doing shit. I will never stop working. I'll be consulting. I'll be helping. I'll be involved. But there's going to be a time where I just want to travel with the wife and just be like, I want to come and go as I please, but I still want to do shit. I want to do projects. I want to be very much involved. But I'm going to step away from the helm eventually. And when I do, that's me traveling with my wife and us enjoying months at our beach house and months in our city condo where in Cincinnati, having our beautiful babies, our little Cavalier, King Charles, Spaniels. The babies ain't down here right now. Anyway, that's my anchor. That's as I don't need it to be more complex than that. I want to be happy. I want to be, I want to be able to give back to the community. I want the systems and the people and the things that I've built over time to do well. So now that I know my desired state, my anchor, that's the long game, right? You also need to have some realistic milestones along the way. And that's a good place to start. If you don't have this figured out, if you don't have any kind of clue and you're still figuring it out, that's fine. I didn't start doing this stuff until my late 30s. Like I've always knew I wanted to do well. I always knew I've been doing objectives and matters. Objectives are the projects. Those are the those are the big strategic pieces. Those are the things in your control that you can plan and implement as you go through. Matters are the things that come at you. Those are the things that try to get in your way that you have to deal with. And if you don't know how to deal with your objectives and matters, if you don't know that desired state, your anchors, then you could blindly be doing your objectives and matters in the wrong direction. You could be taking yourself away from your desired state. And a lot of times when you're in this whirlwind, a lot of small businesses are in this whirlwind and they can't focus on their internal development to get that trajectory going where they want to go. You want to grow your business. You want to be able to do things that help. You want more better employees with technology. You want your hiring process to be better. You want to stay up to date with the latest technology and be a full remote workforce. You want to be the best pet clinic in all of the US. Whatever these aspirations are, whatever your whys are, knowing your anchor, when you get those objectives and matters, you will know how to answer them towards that desired state. So for my company, when I finally simplified this very complex thing that we're doing, I broke it down into 3 pieces. We have our tech stack, which is made up of line of business applications and services, and it's made up of all the assets and all the IoT things, the hardware. So we provide a level of that tech stack to our client, but there's a part of it that we don't provide. It could be hardware, it could be like special machinery for like scanning eyes at an optometrist. So that's something that we have to work with. And we don't provide that. Therefore, but we are the service desk. We do take care of all the technology for the client. Therefore, that's a managed piece of their technology. And that's part of their tech stack. And we make sure that the tech plan for the client's organization, this whole thing I'm talking about right now, I used to tell you that we just provide IT services to people. But now we have a model. I'm just talking about the tech stack right now. I haven't begun to talk about the workforce and why it's important for your workforce to be aligned with that tech stack. And for your tech stack, whether it's in the current state it's in now and you don't like the state it's in and you want to get it to your desired state. And it's not something that you just go push a button or buy a piece of hardware or software and it's moved over there. This is something that's done with strategy because you have to get your workforce aligned with that tech stack. You can't just go update your tech stack and have your workforce and interrupt. I mean, maybe you can, I don't know, but most operations I've ran into, you have to keep production moving. They don't have time to do internal improvements as it is. So you need to find a way to help them track the change management going on within, train users on that. That's what we were lacking before, but that's what we're doing. We are doing it. We're just doing it in this very unorthodox fashion. And I'm like, hey, I want to change the approach, the way we're working. For one, things are sloppy and things are not tight, and I don't like that. Let's tighten up the ship. Let's make this look nice. And we've done such a great job at it, and we've come so far. We keep doing well. Bottom line is, things are good, and I love it. So I've developed myself to a point now where I'm holding to my standards. We have clients right now that are learning about the MTP, and as they do learn about the MTP, we're developing it at such a pace because of our own adoption and our transformation from a break fix shop to an MSP to now a transformation and management platform. It's a lot, and we have to meet every client where they are, but be good at where we are. We don't even have our own website, and we manage and help clients with dozens of websites. This is absurd. We got to get good at this stuff. I need to get good at this. And when I get good at something, I don't want to have to redo it again. And I know all my clients want the services I'm building. That's why I've developed my whole system, the master tech plan, the VCIO product, our service groups. We have 8 service groups that we provide to our clients as part of our tech stack. We get with their workforce and we align their workforce with the tech stack. And the beautiful part about this is the third piece of the whole model, which we have, the master tech plan model and the roadmap it supports. It's just so beautiful. I love it. It all makes so much good sense. I've written it out. I've gotten probably books written on this thing by now. I'm writing detailed documents and all this, but the beautiful thing is after I've written all these books, I was able to go back and put it on one piece of paper. I was able to structure it all on one piece of paper, and I could now easily get the website put together. I need a true designer or somebody to help me. Our process is simple. Our business workflows, all we do for clients, this is what I love about what I've done with my development is we have objectives and we have matters. That's it. Now down the road, as we get bigger, we're going to have some back end, we're going to have engineers, we're going to have administration. But right now with our small team of like 7 people, and we're a scattered team. We work remotely. We have an office where 3 people work out of. I work downtown at a place where we have a big facility and a lot of stuff, but no staff work out of there for us other than myself. All I'm saying is we're so small. So don't get all excited thinking we're some big, huge thing. But what I'm excited about is where we're going and what we're building. That excites me. Yeah. So, transformation. I feel like we talked about that quite a bit already, but we're going to get into it. And today's sponsor is nobody, myself. All right. So, children. I just got this text from my stepdaughter. She's killing me. She says, "That's you." Yeah, that's awesome. Oh boy. I need to make sure that the show still is going here. All right. Woo! Let's go ahead and switch your back to myself. All right. So, yeah, I just realized I was talking like this the whole time, and the camera's over there, so nobody saw me that whole time. But you can see my screen. I wasn't even talking about what was on the screen, so that was brilliant. Definitely going to take some notes on this, and I need to have a moderator. I need to have somebody that controls these things and keeps it interactive for me. If you know anybody, let me know. That'd be fun. Anyway, third topic. Let's go ahead and get into that. Transformation. my personal transformation, I like to use my story. I like to use Cincy PCS's story. We all are just living a story. And I've always had aspirations. I've always wanted to better myself. The whole point of today's show on entrepreneurship is for I wanted the reason why I think entrepreneurship, the why it's so important to the creative technologist, I consider you a creative technologist, is that when you have your desire state, when you know your purpose and you know what you're doing, you know your why. And it's hard. Some people never know their why. The creative tech, if they don't know their why, they know they want their why. They know they want to find it. To me, that's qualification enough to be a creative tech. To intently, I don't care if it's 10 minutes a week, but putting something towards it consistently. I'm only putting this 1 hour show together once a week, and I'm trying to do it in a way where I can tell AI a few simple things and help me write what I'm trying to say in a clean way. And I'm hoping there's improvement coming as I continue to work with AI and get better at. I need to create a whole new GPT. I haven't created a new GPT in months. In fact, I got so much new documentation. I need to go back through, and it's just so, like, even I get caught up in the minutia. I have to get my objectives and matters. And my transformation before, it's hard to keep track of everything that you have going on. And we should have a system for everything that we deal with. And if we have objectives and matters, you can't do all objectives and matters from one system. Like, for instance, your client's objectives, the projects you do for them, you don't want to mix your internal work up with the system you track that in. I mean, maybe you can compartmentalize it in that software, which is great. There's a lot of ERPs and some softwares out there that I know I'm not familiar with that do some great things for companies. But to invest into those kind of systems and to implement those kind of systems is very, there's a lot of commitment there. And having a tech stack that keeps you nimble. That's why we love 365 for small businesses. We can build apps. When I see a company using Candidly for calendar invites, Survey Monkey to get, surveys done, and Typeform for forms, and, Chipmunk for emails, newsletter send outs and things of that nature. Like, the list goes on and on and on. And with SharePoint, if you know somebody that knows SharePoint and 365 online and all the plethora automates, there's just so much that you can do. And having the ability to, as a small company, most small companies, like the one that doesn't have a CRM, I'm using a Microsoft list and tracking their conversations and notes inside of that. And they can see, okay, let's see the last items in this list that have been modified in the last week. And now we can get some numbers so we can coach whoever by looking at those items and seeing their notes. We can now, we don't have to have a meeting with them every time and have them tell us all this stuff. Now I can look at their work. The power in that is huge. Oh, we're planning this event, and there's a shared document over here, or a folder where we're putting everything into this folder, and everything's kind of all over the place. Well, just create a list and put some columns together. That's simply, you're just basically making yourself your own little app to track this stuff in. And then you can take that app and export it and do some crazy stuff with it. So, yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be. Why I even got my notifications on while I'm in the middle of a damn session? Anyway, and I feel bad. Gina and Anthony, I had two people schedule 15-minute sessions with me, and I'm not going to make excuses. I missed those meetings. I got to get better. I have my maker time in the afternoons, and to be honest with you, I try to keep it open. And lately things have been hectic. Yeah, I've been missing. I missed 2 meetings this week. I'm trying to get better at that. Everybody, woo! I feel bad. Yep. But man, now that I have this model, the transformation has been huge. Now that I've learned these communication skills, I can ask a few questions and have the other person tell me the answer, tell me the solution that I already planned on getting them to. Like it's a beautiful thing when you start to have the dots connect and things start to click in place for you. I'm starting to get it, is what I'm saying. Now, knowing it, just like in that book, Verbal Judo, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. But there's this book called Verbal Judo I just recently listened to, and cops are listening to this before as they're getting trained. And I love this part where he talks about we're all human, and he thinks it's funny. It's more ironic, and it is funny to me that he's on his way to a seminar to give a speech about communication and holding your composure, being a professional at all times. He says, but he's still human. And on the way to one of these conventions, he still could just get easily agitated and have somebody cut him off and get road rage and be cussing somebody out and flipping them off at the same time. It is still very difficult to learn to be a true samurai. After growing up and not having somebody keep you on leash. Now, one thing I've always been somebody that can get verbally like, hey, that's not okay. Nope. And when things are going my way and somebody's obviously in the wrong, understanding now that we all have pride, we all have ego, and understanding. Yeah, I wish I would have been taught that you can say you're not an angry person all day, but when something pisses you off and you get angry, you have anger issues. And now the problem is we all get angry. We all have this emotion. It's about regulating it. It's about finding ways to get it out healthy wise. It's about being authentic with people and fostering healthy relationships. Being authentic and genuine. Yeah. Not perfect by any means. I've had a rough one. Not any worse than I've seen people that have. Just think about what's going on around the world. Even with my childhood, I had it great. I have no room to complain. But we all feel the way we feel, right? We all do what we do. And for me, transformation is all about being real, being authentic, and knowing your desired state, what truly makes you happy. And if you don't know those things, if you don't know your anchors, like I want a piano. Like when I start thinking about my beach house in my city house, and I can only have one, let's say I can only have one piano, but I want a piano. Which house would I want it in? Now, the beach house may be a condo that we have to rent out and stuff during the summer. We're not rich by any means. And you have to have money flow. It's all about money flow, right? You have to have ways for money to come through you. They never taught you this stuff, like not in my schools. Donald Trump. One thing I agree with Donald Trump on. And before I get anybody upset, I'm very in the middle. Financially and business-wise, I'm very conservative. And, civility and socially, I'm very much liberal. I know that sounds weird, but I do fall in the middle. I think a lot of us have a mix of both views. And either way, one thing I will agree with Trump on is it's not about how much money you have. It's about how much money goes through you. And keeping the business alive and keeping things, it's the challenge. People will want to be in your position, but they will not do the work it takes to justify having everything that they're doing. And I'm telling you right now, you have to work hard at it, and you have to be able to provide justification for what you're doing and the value that the master tech plan brings to clients at the cost. And the reason why is because I've built these systems that allow us to provide this level of value. I've built the tech stack and the service desk and the pipelines for us to be responsive and reactive to the small business sector. I want to work with other MSPs. I wish I could find an MSP to take on the master tech plan internally, just with a department, just to try objectives and matters and having a system internally and using the team site structure and using 365 to build these apps and to start building it out from there, working with their PSA and their RMM and you know, with AI coming down the pipeline, having the graph in Microsoft set up properly and having everything in this ecosystem that's so clean and being able to just spit things out, basically building apps just by telling Microsoft what you're looking for and what you want to look like and how you want to act and knowing your why and keeping it simple and clean and clear. That's it's hard to do. You got to pick your ecosystem. Now, the beautiful thing about our tech stack is just because we're on Microsoft doesn't mean we don't have Google, Dropbox, all these other apps. The reason we have these is because we work with companies and partners that use these other platforms. When you truly understand identity, you can use your Microsoft tenant, which is one of our service groups as a tenant. You can have an intranet site. You can have your way of doing forms. You can have all this beautiful capability. And big companies get it. Cisco, Dell, all these big companies, they're using it to that level. Small businesses can too. They need to know how. I'm here to help. Anyway, for the individual person, do you want to work for yourself? Great. Find a company that you can get behind by, your personal brand. Let them know you're in it for the long run. You want to career with them, and wherever you're at, be honest and be real. Like, this is where I am, and where I want to be. My desired state is to work my way up and to be able to work on the biggest projects in the that transform this company in its direction. That's what I'm here to do. I want to be a part of this mission, and here's why. I appreciate your why and why I'm willing to work from wherever you are willing to put me in and qualify me at. I will, work myself up from there. Any employer looking for somebody, if you can sell it right, if you have the skill set to back up, and if you're authentic and real with where you are, it'll happen. All right. Well, I thought that would whatever. So we only got a couple minutes left here, and the last thing I'll tell you here today is we do have a model here. There's 3 steps. We have a Facebook group, and really we don't have anybody in there yet. I haven't really been pushing people to it, but if you're interested, stick around. If you have all this and you're like, hey, let's check this thing out, go ahead and step 1, go to tribe.sessions. Tribe.creativetech.ai. And that's where you'll be able to join the Facebook group. If you go to align.creativetech.ai, that will take you to the alignment form. Just a quick questionnaire I filled out. I want to get you into our database of creative techs and influencers. And then we also have the third step, which is schedule your session. You can do a 15 or 30-minute session. If I miss your session because I'm out and about and work, again, I wasn't going to make excuses earlier. I don't miss meetings just for the sake of it, but I did miss the meetings. And I hate it when I miss meetings, especially when I'm out and about and I, you know, one of them I didn't even get to tell him beforehand because I didn't have a number for him or a way to get to him directly. And eventually, I went to the invite. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I can go to the invite." Emailed her at least. I hit her up on LinkedIn, but either way, sometimes work gets a hold of you. So I'm pretty good about getting these meetings. So make sure to schedule your session. That's the third step. They're free right now during the season of the Creative Tech. We do things in seasons here. We also are currently in the 2023 to 2025 tech plan. Super exciting stuff coming for the 2026 tech plan. And yeah, we'll talk about it then. But right now, I'm getting the kids. We're going to Kings Island. You guys know what to do, right? Keep it heavy, keep it real. Peace. Clicking the music.